Welcome to our Devos this week, where we have been talking about dealing with people problems. And I said, if you're a Christian, you want to be a person that knows how to handle people and deal with people in a way that honors God and reflects the character of Jesus and the Holy Spirit that dwells within you. And there is no surer way to get this wrong than by dealing with people in a way that does not honor God and does not give him the preeminence in these conflicts that he deserves. So I want to give you a kind of a little bit of a sneak thing that most Christians don't realize that they can do. You might not have known that you can do this, okay? And I challenge you about this, and I sometimes will do this with my family members and friends, like when something comes up, whenever there's a problem with people, whenever there's a problem at work, or you have a problem, in drama situation that you're dealing with. Here's something that you could try, okay? And just give it some thought. Why don't try limiting your input? Why don't you try limiting your input? You don't always have to throw your hat into a fight. You don't always have to confront every single thing. We are not called to do that. We are called to live for Jesus. We're called to love others. We're called to follow the path that God has called us to. But you're not called to correct every single thing that goes on around you. In fact, I would dare say that sometimes that's more damaging than it is helpful. It says in Proverbs chapter 9, verse 7 through 9, he says, whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. So there's something embedded right there. If you know that someone, like, for instance, the guy online right now who is sharing massive amounts of conspiracy theories and who's talking horrible things about the church and about government and all this stuff, that person, I have a really good feeling. It's just a gut feeling. I'm just going to take a shot at this. I have a feeling that you ripping into them on Facebook is probably not going to change their mind about things. You might think that you have just the right words to lay into them and show them the right, and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, everything I've ever believed is wrong. Thank you, person that read my post and really knows where I'm coming from. If you still right now in 2022 are thinking that that's a good way to handle conflict, more power to you, but there's a really good chance that if you're trying to correct a scoffer or somebody that is wicked, that living without God, they're divorced from God, devoid of God, if they're that way, you're not going to be able to change them. That's God's problem. He's going to change their heart on things. He says, don't reprove a scoffer or he's going to hate you. Surprise. But what does it say? It says, reprove a wise man and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man and he will increase in learning. So there are people, and Pastor Mike has said this before, that you have a teachable spirit. Like you genuinely want to know. Like if you are, one of the things you could ask somebody is, if you were wrong about something and you believe something that was wrong, would you want to know? Most people, of course, will say yes, but their behavior shows you the opposite. They don't want to know. But if somebody is wise, truly, they're growing, they're learning, they're changing. They're evolving based on what they're learning, right? That's why we use things like light bulbs, and that's why we wash our hands. There was a time period in history where we didn't believe that washing our hands was a big deal. And it caused lots of problems with death and disease and a lot of that, okay? And you can see people learn, they become better. We should still be doing this. We should still be learning about how to interact with each other and care about each other. And there's a lot of people that once their opinion is solidified, it's cemented. It's not changing. So my encouragement to you is, I want you to limit your input to people that are disagreeing with you. You don't have to answer every disagreement. You don't have to answer every conflict. You don't have to be a part of every confrontation. It's not going to land you where you think it will. It's not a cause that God necessarily wants you to pick up. Instead, look for opportunities to be with those around you that are trying to grow like you, are trying to learn more about Jesus like you, and build into them. That's where you can correct things. That's where you can be graceful and truthful. That's where you can learn yourself and maybe be changed. But don't go looking to give your input. Limit your input, and there's a really good chance that your people problems are going to get better.